All right, Austin Reaves. So with this win, 50th on the season, you do secure the 3 seed for the Western Conference playoffs. I know it's been a long season, a lot has happened, but that right there is accomplishing something towards your ultimate goal.
Yeah, I mean, the Western Conference is such a competitive. Every single night, doesn't matter who you play, it's always competitive. And for us to be the 3rd seed is a big accomplishment. Now we have one more Sunday, I believe. Yeah, Friday.
Yep.
Friday, 2nd day of the Masters, by the way. Everybody watch. So we got one more Sunday, and then the real deal starts. So it's very excited.
I figured you'd get a golf reference in there. So Luka just walked by, gave you a tap on the back. Obviously, it seemed like a galvanizing moment for you guys in Texas, in Dallas, around him. What have you seen from him lately coming out of that one and into this one as you approach the postseason?
I mean, him just being him. We've all been watching it since he's been in the league. He does stuff like he did tonight in Dallas a lot. So we expect him to do that. We want him to go be our best player every single night. And, he's one hell of a player. So happy to have him on our team. And that night in Dallas was huge for our team.
What were you and LeBron getting into on the bench there? Seemed like you were having some fun.
We were getting into it. We don't really like each other. We deal with each other just because of basketball, but other than that, friendship's not that good. But we did celebrate for a second for not being in the play-in tournament. So we battled through those days last year and the year before. Now we were, like you said, we secured that 3rd seed. So we're, super excited to, for the postseason.
Yeah, not just avoid the play-in, but secured home court for at least one round. And you guys have been playing some good basketball in this building.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we play in the best, arena in the world in front of the best fans. So anytime we, lace them up, in general, we feel good, but especially when we're here, with this crowd behind us.
Thanks for the time, Austin.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Everybody watch the Masters.
You guys clinched number 3 in the West. You have won 7 out of 10. You buy yourself a couple extra days of rest, knowing Sunday doesn't matter. Just what's the feeling of accomplishment for this group tonight?
Feels good. We've obviously been through ups and downs throughout this year. I was joking with my best friend the other day, talking about how I feel like this year's been 5 years in total, but then again, feels like it just started at the same time. Like, as much as this group's been through, every time we hit any type of adversity, we bounce back, and that's all you can ask in a group.
A couple weeks ago, JJ mentioned building a playoff mentality, and it seems like you guys have taken a big step in that since everybody got healthy on March 22nd. What have you seen from that perspective, and I guess where you guys care from the last couple weeks into the playoffs starting next week?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, playoff time is all about executing and, paying attention to the details. You can win by the, smallest margin, or you can lose by, a couple mess-ups. So you have to be sharp every single possession. You obviously know you're not going to be perfect, but anytime you strive to be perfect, the better your team's going to be. So just taking that, into the season or into the postseason is very important for us.
Austin, there's a stat that's circulated recently that 76 of 78 NBA champions have been top 3 seeds. You guys locked up the number 3 seed. Do you feel like you guys are building towards that and have a real shot at that based on where you're at in the playoff seeding?
Yeah, I mean, I did not know that stat, so thanks. Yeah, we feel very comfortable with what we got in the locker room. From front office, coaching staff to players, we're all locked into one goal, and that's to win a championship. And like I said, we feel very comfortable with what we have. We can play different ways, and then we got the best player to ever play the game, and then probably arguably gonna be one of the best players to ever play the game in Luka, and then around that we have guys that are just bought into winning, and that's what you need when you're trying to make a run like that.
Austin, back here, what kind of impact has JJ Redick had on this team?
Huge. when the Lakers hired him, I had talked to him a couple times previously, and I knew his IQ of the game. But obviously there was all the talks about he's never coached at any type of high level or anything like that, and since day one he's been super professional, super locked into one goal, and that's getting the team to buy into what the coaching staff wants. So he's been huge in what we've done, and I can't give him enough credit for what he's done for me, the team. Happy to, go to war for him any day.
Austin, I was asking JJ about the defense and sort of LeBron's role in it, and he mentioned a play today where, like, LeBron, you were on somebody and LeBron told you to get out of the way. And, would you describe him as like a quarterback on defense? Is that his role, or is it middle linebacker? That sort of vocal role he plays there?
To be honest, I don't really know football that much.
Okay.
But he talks about it all the time. Yeah, I mean, he is, our vocal leader on and off the court. He leads by example every day. He shows up to work, happy, smile on his face. And obviously his IQ is second to none. So anytime he's, talking on court, off court, everybody's locked into what he has to say. And it's big for us when he's on the court talking like that because, like I said, his IQ is so high that he's seen a billion possessions in the NBA, so he's guarded every type of player that's been in the NBA. He's seen every scheme. So if there's someone to listen to, I think it would be him.
Austin, by securing this number 3 seed, obviously you're going to get rest, recovery, more practice time. What for you specifically excites you most about securing this 3 seed?
I get to watch the Masters tomorrow and Sunday with a little less stress. But like you said, it's a good opportunity for us to get back in the gym, work on what we need to work on. If it's your body, skill work, watch film, whatever it is, it just gives us, a couple more days to be very prepared for, whatever matchup we have.
Hey, Austin. Bron has always been a huge supporter of yours, and you've always been very clear about what that's meant to you. How has your relationship grown this year with you being considered a part of a big 3 and you throwing a towel back at him during the game, and you guys jumping around at a certain point?
Yeah, I mean, as all of y'all have probably seen from my rookie year when a tweet got posted from when I was 12 talking about, I basically was just talking shit on LeBron. Wasn't a huge LeBron fan. I was a Kobe fan, so automatically I didn't love him, but obviously always respected his game. And then just being around him every single day, the joy that he brings to the team. Like I said, he's never in a bad mood. He's always, joking, laughing, having a good time. And for him to, welcome me from when I was on a 2-way the same way as he does today, it just meant a lot to me. And obviously, being able to play alongside him, just helped me grow every single day. So I owe him a lot for, what he's helped me accomplish. And yeah, he's a pretty good guy.
So we're going to do 3 more. Taylor, Lauren, and a gentleman on the equation.
Austin, on the road, JJ was saying how you continued all season to just morph into a different player because you love winning so much. Do you think that's true, and how do you do that?
When you love to win, you like to, take on the challenge of figuring out how to help your team be successful. And, every game it might be something different. Early in the year I wasn't on ball as much, so it was doing, other things to help us be successful. If it was, hustle plays, taking charges, or whatever it might be. And then just continuing to grow my game, being in the gym every day with Bo, just trying to continue to get better. And then, just like I've always said, just try to play the game the right way. I feel like my parents and my brother did a really good job of teaching me how to play the game. And when you're, able to play with such good players and you try to play the right way, good things will happen. You'll always be on the right, not always, obviously I mess up, but you'll continue to put yourself in, positions to be successful. And then obviously, they do so much to help me, get to where I want to go. So I just try to play the game the right way, and hopefully the basketball gods reward me.
Austin, you've consistently been one of your biggest critics, and also now that you're having such a stretch where you've had a lot of consistent games, how would you evaluate your confidence level as you approach the playoffs, and also your confidence level in your team and where they were before the trade deadline to now, like what you've seen in terms of that trajectory and belief in this team and what they can accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, as a team, I feel like we can, win a championship, to be honest with you. And the reason of that is I know that everybody in that locker room believes that and is also bought into whatever your role is to help us do that. You could go, down the line of everybody in there and ask them, what their role is, and they'll tell you exactly what it is. We're not unrealistic with, each other, and that's what you had to be, to be a good group. You had to be honest with each other, and that's why I give this coaching staff a lot of credit, is that they come in and they planted their system and they held guys accountable to what they asked them to do, and everybody bought into that. And then for me, I've always had a weird, maybe a little bit of a delusion, confidence in myself, even when things aren't going good. But obviously when I don't play well, I know I don't play well, so I hold myself to a standard of being better. So I just love the challenge of continuing to grow and get better. And like I said, even when I'm going through tough stretches, I still believe that I'm a decent player.
Last question.
Austin, you have like this freeness to yourself when you play. Like you're busting out like a lot of different moves, a lot of barbecue chicken work on some of these guys. What gives you that delusional confidence, I guess, to just try some of these moves in the game?
To be honest, we was talking about players that don't really know what they're gonna do. This was before the game tonight, actually. Me and Brian was talking about how when players don't really know what they're gonna do, they're tough to guard. And I kind of looked at him and was like, half the time I have no idea what I'm about to do. It just happens, and it just comes from putting time in the gym, believing in my handle, believing in. I probably take some bad shots. I will be the first to say that, but I have that confidence of I can make any shot. So, it's just playing the game that I love with a lot of freedom, and everybody on our team and staff, it tells me to do that. They don't want me to be anything that I'm not. They tell me every single day to go be yourself, and that obviously builds confidence in myself as well. So. Give him all the credit. Thank you.
All right, Luka, the playoffs are right around the corner. You're still trying to find your way, living in L.A. You got into a group groove tonight. How did it feel?
Great. This was a must-win for us to secure the third seed, so that's how we came out and played.
Anything you can share? We saw LeBron look like he might have tweaked something. Is he going to be okay for the final game?
What was that, sorry?
Look like LeBron made a tweak something there in the third quarter. You think he's going to be okay?
Yeah, I think it was fine.
All right, last one for you. Last game of the season, what's the biggest thing you guys need to work on to get ready for the playoffs?
Just building our good habits, building on defense, building on offense. But the most important is good habits, like I said.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Luka, just how significant for you guys to lock up the three and kind of cement that spot with home court advantage for the first round at least?
Very important. It's going to be my first time having home court advantage, so I'm really excited about it. And that was our goal. Looking back maybe 5-6 games, our goal was to lock at the third seed.
You could argue your last stretch of games here has certainly been your best, just in terms of efficiency. And how are you feeling that at the same time, and how much kind of confidence does it give not just yourself but the team as you head into the postseason?
Yeah, big confidence. Especially getting back in my rhythm. It's important for me. It's important for the team. So I can do everything to help the team win.
Kind of on that note, over this last 3-4 game stretch, you're finishing at the rim or near the rim. The efficiency has gone up. Is that related to comfort? Like you kind of mentioned rhythm yourself. Physically, just where is that, I guess, improved efficiency coming from for you?
Yeah, I think just getting physically better. When I drive the ball, I think, like I said, it helps the team a lot. Sometimes around the rim I can score, but then sometimes there's so many guys in the paint that I can create a lot of open shots. So that's what I need to keep doing.
Luka, I was wondering if you could talk about the lob chemistry you guys have on this team. It feels like everyone's just always ready, and like you're kind of leading that charge. Can you just speak to that? Is it something you guys practice or prepare for or talk about, or is it just kind of you guys give each other the eyes and just get it?
Yeah, for me, I was always kind of, looking for lobs. Not for me to pass it, but we don't work on it. It's just kind of the feeling we have with each other on the court, and like I said, it's getting better.
Luka, you've packed a ton in a short amount of time since you came here. You even stayed an extra night in Dallas, did another appearance. It's been nonstop for you. How will this 9 days or so leading up to the start of the first round benefit you?
Big time. I got to get some rest, obviously. But, the good part of the season is coming. So got to stay ready, got to stay locked in. But for sure, a little bit of rest is going to be great for me.
Hey, Luka, Austin just said that he thinks that the Lakers could win a championship. You've obviously taken a team to the finals last season. What do you think is the Lakers' ceiling?
Yeah, obviously. That's got to be our only goal, and that's our only goal. I think we have the team to do it. But everybody's locked in. We're a hard team to beat, so that's our goal.
Luka, you've obviously been playing with LeBron for the past couple of months, but this is going to be your first time together in the playoffs, and you've played with great players before, but he's arguably the greatest. How do you envision you two just fitting together in the playoffs, and just like what that could be like?
Yeah, like I say, it's going to be hard to stop us. But it's not just me and LeBron. We have a great team around us. Everybody helps us in so many ways. So if we want to win a championship, it's going to take all of us.
Luka, felicidades. Aseguran el tercer puesto en el oeste. ¿Cómo se siente el equipo en este momento y sobre todo para ti personalmente? ¿Qué es lo que has podido aprender de ti desde que llegaste?
Creo que ha sido muy importante acabar así, sobre todo para tener cancha en casa en los primeros playoffs. No he aprendido nada nuevo cuando juego a mi manera, o sea, cuando juego agresivo ayuda mucho al equipo y eso tengo que hacer.
Luka, también en español, me gustaría preguntarte, ¿qué piensas o qué sientes cuando la gente corea tu nombre, te gritan MVP? Los playoffs están enfrente y esta afición obviamente siempre está esperando un campeonato para los Lakers. Sí,
es algo increíble, es algo que todo el mundo que juega baloncesto quiere, que todo el pabellón grite tu nombre y es algo increíble, así que espero que no sea la última vez.
Luka, you've been on quite an emotional roller coaster over the last few months. How have you navigated that? And with this upcoming week off, like what kind of reflection do you intend to have before the playoffs start, and to keep kind of a balanced mindset going into the playoffs?
Oh yeah, it's been a roller coaster, but my emotions I deal with by playing basketball. It's the thing I love, and going to the playoffs, trying to win every game. That's it. Thank you.
Rui, who was the leader of the ice bucket dumping on JJ?
I have no idea. I actually didn't know we were going to do it. And I think, who was that? Was it Braun did his horse? Or Vando, and just kept going, And just the whole locker room is literally the water, straight water. But yeah, I mean... He talked about, he once he got hired, his goal was to get 50 wins and third seed. So yeah, we did it, and it was a big accomplishment for us, and yeah, that's why we did that.
Yeah, where's your confidence level at right now, considering the way you've been playing as a team since you and LeBron came back healthy, as you now enter the postseason with at least round one for home in terms of home court?
Yeah, I think, of course, we made this playoff and, in the plane, so we're going to have this whole week. I think we can this week gonna be really important for us. Rest, prepare for the first round. So we needed it. We talk about it. Me and Braun talk about it. We need this win to get week off literally, so we can get healthy and prepare for the first round. So yeah, it was a whole plan, and we did that.
Rui, everyone keeps talking about this team's chemistry, and it's so clear to see like how well you guys get along and how much you guys click. In a lot of videos that are shared of you guys celebrating each other, your smile is just so big, and you just look like so happy. What do you love about this team?
I'm just happy to be here. With this organization since I got traded here. With these teammates. I mean, we had a lot of teammates, but we the core guys. I've known them for a long time. Off the court, on the court. I love being around them. Be around with them and just talk about winning, losing. We just building our chemistry. Strong, every day, every week, every year is different, So I feel comfortable here, and yeah, I wanna win here. So yeah, we all have the same goals, and yeah, I think this year is gonna be really, we have a big chance. So I'm so excited for that.
Rui, you've been on playoff teams with this organization before. You've never been on a rested playoff team with this organization. You touched on it a little bit, but how important do you think was that for this group over this last couple weeks to really focus on avoiding the play-in and kind of controlling your own fate?
Yeah, especially with our conference, West Conference is so tight. Everybody's literally, same win and loss. So we have to focus on us and get each game was really important for us. We lost to crazy games, couple games, and we stressed out about that. But even though we kind of, we focus on every game, and we won all those important games, especially last week, and that's why I got to this point. So we gotta, like I say, we gotta rest this week and prepare for the first run, and just we got a home court advantage too. So we're gonna be here for like 2 weeks probably for sure, right? So yeah, I'm happy about it, and yeah, I'm ready for that.
You guys obviously have a ton of offensive talent, but there's an adjustment period to learning how to play with one another, particularly a player as dynamic as Luka. But I guess over this last week or so, have you seen the offense start to show like this other gear it can get to?
Yeah, for sure. Especially Luka Luka was coming back from an injury too. When he got traded and stuff playing. So now he's healthier. And me and Braun got hurt, and we came back. So we kind of rebuild it again, and we start kind of finding each other. The rhythm. And you guys see this today too. Last game, even Oklahoma. We all know our roles, and we do that. So we love our roles, and yeah, we keep doing it, and we share the balls and all that. It's gonna help us in the playoff in the long run. So yeah, we gotta keep doing that.
When you, LeBron, and Dorian are playing or involved in those smaller lineups, where any one of you guys can be the center, what's the key to making those lineups work? What have you liked about those groups? I guess how much have you guys been able to fast track that synergy over the past couple weeks?
I think it will be either me or Braun can guard bigger guys, and Vando can guard the perimeter wing player, so he can kind of move around. He can kind of do his thing. So I think that'll be the key. Of course we're gonna be switch on now, but I think with the size, our length, we can literally guard anybody in this league. We have a speed, all that. So I think we love the lineup, and yeah, we keep doing it. And you guys can see, we showing a lot of results with that format. So yeah, we gotta. Of course, this whole week, 1 week, we're gonna watch film, and then we're gonna figure out a lot of stuff. But I think we're gonna keep the lineup, and we're gonna use that for sure a lot in the playoff.
八村選手レイカーズに来てからも本当に優勝狙いということでずっとおっしゃってましたし、去年も一昨年もどのチーム相手でも自分たちは勝てる力を持ってるっていうふうにおっしゃってましたけれども、今年のチームで戦ってみて、その優勝っていうのがどれぐらい近づいてるっていうふうに感じますか？去年や一昨年と比べて。
そうですね。 ケミストリーとかそういうところも考えてこのチームが一番今まで僕がいた中であると思いますし、タレント的にもバランス的にも一番あるんじゃないかなと思うので、そこはそういうところを見て、結果としても出てると思うんですけど、そういうところも含めて今年チャンスがあると思うので、そこはしっかりと僕も考えてやっていきたいなと思います。
お疲れ様です。レイカーズに来て3度目のプレーオフになりますけれども、このレイカーズに来てから今に至るまで、八村選手自身どんな選手に成長したと思われますか？
そうですね、やっぱりチームに大事な存在ってなりたいと思いながらずっとやってきたので、その中でずっと今シーズンはスターターで務めてきて、JJ からもコーチ陣からも信頼を受けながら、新しいコーチ陣だったんですけど信頼を受けながら、チームメートからも信頼を受けながらこのシーズンをやってきたので、その中でこうやって結果を出せれてきたので、僕としてもいいシーズンだったと思いますし、プレーオフに向けてしっかりとやっていきたいなと思います。
今シーズンチームに貢献している部分としてディフェンスが挙げられるかなと思うんですけども、手応えどう感じてられるかと、普段どんなところを気をつけてディフェンスしているか教えてください。
そうですね、自分の体格を使って僕の足の長さ、手の長さ、自分の動き、速さとかそういうところを使いながら、チームディフェンスなんで、そこはコミュニケーションとかそういうところも全部含めて、やることによってディフェンスの力が上がったと思うので、そこは続けていきたいなと思います。
JJ, did you get a bit of an ice bath?
Yes. And I just want to apologize to Kathy. Hopefully, in the next 9 days, the $17,000 of damage to the carpet can get fixed. So it was about 8 ice buckets that was put on me. But I think it was just for our group, different versions of this team. For the guys that have been here all along, they went through every single peak and valley. I think even this third iteration of this team has gone through a bunch of peaks and valleys. I'm just incredibly proud of our team. It's an accomplishment to win 50 games in the regular season in any year. I think particularly in this year, in this Western Conference, it is. And it's a credit to our players. Each one at different points in time has contributed to winning. They've all participated in a winning culture. And our coaching staff, our performance staff, everybody down the line, it's a great group to be a part of. We want to go win one more game, and we'll figure out Sunday who we play in the first round.
The way that kind of Luka played on the trip and then coming into today and the rhythm that he's in going into the playoffs, and just how significant do you think all of that is, considering the rest of your team and kind of how it's coalescing?
Yeah, I think it's great for Luka. All three of those guys, Bron, AR, and Luka, I think this last week and a half, have really found a nice rhythm, not just individually, but within what we're trying to do and playing together and using each other to create advantages. And we started working yesterday. We spent about 45 minutes this morning starting to just map out. We obviously don't know when we're going to play, but starting to map out next week. And it's going to be important over the next 8-9 days to stay in that rhythm, and we have to be smart about it. But there's still got to be some work next week. We want to prioritize rest and recovery, of course, but we got to also stay in that rhythm.
Speaking of recovery, LeBron checked out halfway through the third quarter, didn't return. We saw a wrap on his left side. Can you tell us anything about how he's feeling?
Oh, he's fine. He's fine. Yeah, he's fine.
But you Eagles fan?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I only root for winners. I only root for winners. The Eagles, Florida Gators. I'm just kidding.
Hey, JJ, entering into Media Day, your first season, you said this was going to take time. You guys clinched the third seed. You just had multiple ice buckets poured on you. How would you say your first season went?
It's not done. And I spent all of 3.5 minutes on the flight back from Dallas just thinking about making the playoffs and thinking about the coaching profession. And I think as a coach, you're obviously judged on regular season wins and losses and your ability to get to the playoffs. But I think the other two things that you're really judged on are the way you're able to handle the pressure of the playoffs, the adjustments, the in-game stuff. There's still so much work that we have to do, myself, our staff. And then I think you're also judged on the culture you create and whether or not your players and everybody in the building like coming to work.
JJ, to that point, after LeBron checked out, Luka and Austin sort of, it seemed like their on-ball aggressiveness offensively and like creativity really kicked up. How much fun does it look like those guys are having and the opportunities that they have to attack defenders when they have a perceived mismatch?
Yeah, I thought throughout the game and throughout this last 2 months, however long it's been since we've had Luka, when we've done a good job of recognizing mismatches and gotten into proper spacing, we've created really good offense. And that's not, these guys know it and they're so good. If you have a mismatch and you can beat your guy or you can post your guy, LeBron's great with this. Like, it doesn't just mean you get to shoot it. It means we have an advantage now and we can score the basketball. We can generate good offense. And I think all three of those guys have been so good with that. I warned them at halftime to continue to play the right way and that there would be fines if there were any possessions that looked like the Dallas possession the other night. So they came close, but I think they're all going to keep their money.
JJ, Luka's finishing in the paint. Going back to this past road trip, it feels like he's taken a step and looked more like himself with just his finishing numbers. And tonight, I believe, was 7 for 8 in the paint. What have you seen with that part of his game, and how much of an asset is that for you guys, given all the space he can create with his step backs?
I think he's found so he's really good at late decision making. He's one of the best in the league and probably one of the best ever at late decision making, meaning he can get deep into the paint or at the rim, and then you don't know if he's going to shoot or pass. And I think he's found a little bit of that, whether it's 50-50, 60-40, 55-45, he's found that like 60-40 shoot versus pass, whereas I think that equation was out of whack when he first got here. Then there's the rhythm, just the touch. It all goes together when you're making threes and you're making middies and you're making your post ups. It all goes together. I think that just the confidence level to finish and the burst that he's gotten as he's gotten back into his rhythm. We were just talking on the bench tonight, like his drives look more explosive now than they did when he first joined us.
JJ, just when your defense is humming and you guys are playing the way you want to do, are there things that you look for that you go, okay, we're locked in? Are there and what would those things be?
Yeah, we're not. It's funny. We're not an aggressive defense necessarily. I think our greens are probably the most aggressive thing that we do, but we can be incredibly disruptive, and so it's being disruptive within what we're trying to do. And sometimes that doesn't necessarily mean a deflection or a turnover. Sometimes that can just mean we stall out an offensive possession. And that's one thing. You can get into like our shift positioning, where our low man is, our talk, all that stuff. But typically that's like a good marker of our defense. It's not just forced turnovers. It's how many possessions can we stall out where they're taking a contested off the dribble jumper.
How do you describe like LeBron's role in that?
He's, quarterback is an offensive position, but he's the quarterback of the defense. And a lot of that is his voice, his IQ. There was a play where AR switched onto a big in the first half, and Rui ended up getting deflection, but, within half a second, Bron was scramming him out. AR, get out of here, and to take the big. And it plays like that that I think really connect our defense.
Hey, Coach, you talked about in the beginning of the season that you used to use visualization when you were in high school You'd go to the gym and, pretend you were coming off a screen, take a shot. And then you said before you had the first game here that you used visualization. I was wondering if you still deploy that technique and what situations are you imagining?
Yeah, I sometimes I do my breathing and meditation in the locker room in my locker like my coach's room before the game. But I always, even if I do it before, I always do it during starting lineup. And it's not necessarily a certain amount of breath work or anything like that. It's really just to get me into a place where I feel like I can coach, and that's typically when I do most of my visualization work. And a lot of that is just, who we're playing, how I want us to play, what I want our defense to look like, the on-ball and off-ball actions we use, and then I usually finish with some like connecting plays for our players, and then I'm ready to go.